I used to be a massive Pokemon fan. I played all the mainline games that came out, tons of the spin-offs, and spent hundreds of hours building competitive teams. But as I grew older, the series didn't grow with me. Stagnation plagued the series just as much as high-quality animations did. I fell off. Despite loving the Switch and spending thousands of dollars on it and games, I've never even considered buying any of the new Pokemon games. Then I discovered Palworld. In just the opening hours, I could tell that this was the game I've wanted for so long. I'm Ouroboros. Let's talk. I know the Pokemon with Guns meme has kind of been done to death, even with the game only just releasing, but it's for good reason. There are wild pals all over the place, and you capture them by weakening them and then throwing a Pokeball Palsphere. It's called a Palsphere. I was never looking for Pokemon clone. As much as I love the series, and as much as I would love a Pokemon game with the scope of Breath of the Wild, I'm glad that Palworld does things differently. For starters, there's really no story. At least I haven't encountered any. The world is basically just a playground for you. Everything is open for you to explore. I spent about 5 hours in the opening area capturing pals, building my base, exploring, gathering resources, just kinda whatever. I felt that I was beginning to get a grasp of everything, and then I opened my map and realized I had explored probably 5% of the whole map. The sheer scale of this world is overwhelming, and there's lots of stuff for you to discover. There's higher level enemies even in the starting area, so you need to be careful when you're out and about. That also gives you a reason to return to previous areas. It's a lot like Xenoblade in that sense. If you somehow manage to capture a high level pal, it'll automatically level down to your character's level. I like this because it still rewards you with a powerful pal, but it won't trivialize everything if you either get lucky or manage to brute force a capture with dozens of spheres. I think this is the best way to go about this problem. It forces you to make some decisions about resources. Do you want to spend tons of materials and time to try and capture that early Memorest? Or do you want to just focus on lower level pals? At the end of the day, the decision is yours, and that freedom is so refreshing. And the combat is also refreshing. Pals feel more like allies than tools, and your characters have agency in combat. Now you have 2 characters to worry about. It makes combat more fun because you have more things to keep track of, and it's in real time, which greatly speeds up combat. There's no more waiting around with boring turn-based combat, just spamming super effective moves with your box legendary. The choice between ranged and melee weapons, as well as using pals as weapons, is really creative. There's so much flexibility in combat beyond just choosing which pal to send out. The few bosses that I've encountered have been really fun as well. Your character doesn't have very much health, so you need to react quickly to the boss's attacks unless you want to die. And death has so much more meaning because you drop your items. At least I used to have that setting checked until I died in water and all of my items despawned. Yeah, apparently it's a bug right now. After that happened, I turned on Keep Inventory. There are definitely bugs here and there. I haven't noticed anything game-breaking. It's mostly just weird pathfinding issues with pals and some of the human enemies. I'm okay with bugs for now. After all, the game is in early access. But later down the line, they will need to patch some things up. I'm sure they'll also improve game performance down the line as well. Not that it's bad, but I'm sure it could definitely be more optimized. Regardless, I've been really enjoying combat, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it even more once I get around to unlocking guns. I also really like the design of the pals. It's felt like Pokemon has always had a chokehold on monster designs. Digimon has always been a little too edgy for me, and Temtem's designs just don't sit right with me. But Palworld feels like it nails all of the designs. They're goofy and colorful, but not over the top. I died laughing when I saw Depresso for the first time. And look how cute my big boy Chillet is, he's adorable! And you can pet all of them. That's how you know developers care. They're all bright and colorful and seem so friendly. Generally speaking, most of them feel like actual creatures. Pokemon has been moving more towards creating characters rather than creatures. I don't have a problem with this shift, but when you're encountering them in the wild, it can be jarring to see vastly different design philosophies next to each other. You can tell by just looking at them. Older designs are far simpler and serve as a big juxtaposition to the more complex new ones. Again, I don't have a problem with this change. It's hard to keep things consistent after 28 years, but all of the pals feel so organic within this world. And because there's no evolution, and because all of your pals gain EXP for things that you do, I feel even more incentive to catch them. This ironically makes me want to catch them all more in Palworld than in Pokemon. Oh, and you can turn all of your friends into slaves. I've really enjoyed the base building and technology unlocks. I've spent thousands of hours in survival Minecraft, so this part felt really natural to me. The building is fairly basic, at least where I am right now. You don't have nearly as much flexibility as the block system there. You can place floors, walls, roofs, doors, and get some decorations. Nothing too crazy. But what really surprised me is how you can have all of your pals automate resource collection. Once you establish your base and select pals, they'll go to work based on their job suitability. So you need to have a wide variety of pals if you want to have everything covered. This further encourages you to catch many different pals, even more than just the EXP bump. I have a feeling this is going to get far more complex as I progress. It seems like I've only scratched the surface of this system. I'm curious to see how much more industrial it'll get. Will I end up with factories producing tons of stone, wood, and other materials? Or will it be mostly relegated to smaller operations? And if I do end up industrializing, how will the sanity system be affected? I'm also curious to see if I can upgrade PAL work levels. There's so much stuff that I'm curious about. That's what made me so happy playing this game for the first time. I'm exploring this wondrous, expansive new world. There's new pals and mechanics to discover all around me. It's like when I played Minecraft, Breath of the Wild, and Pokemon for the first time, all wrapped up in one game. It's nostalgic in that sense. It feels like a combination of some of the best parts of some of my favorite games. The monster collecting of Pokemon, the crafting and base building of Minecraft, and the world of Zelda. Honestly, it feels like this is what Pokemon has been trying to lead up to. Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, and Legends have tried to make the world more expansive and tried to breathe more life into it. But they just fail on a technical level. All of the new Pokemon games just look bad. And that's coming from a massive Nintendo fan. I'm no stranger to games not having the highest resolution, maybe not the highest frame rates, but aesthetically, most Nintendo games are really good to look at. Modern Pokemon really just look like upscaled GameCube games, and not even good ones. I'd take the world of Metroid Prime 2 over these any day of the week. So to see a world that's fleshed out, that has unique environments and structures, that feels alive is relieving. It's a huge sigh of relief, but a frustrating one. Why has Game Freak not done something like this yet? The largest media franchise in the world is getting shown up by... Wait, who even developed this game? Pocket Pair? Huh, never heard of them. In fact, I hadn't even heard of Palworld until just a few days after the game released. I hadn't seen any trailers or heard anything. Then it just blew up. It's crazy how much word of mouth has helped this game spread. This video wasn't meant to bash on Pokemon. I think the series still has plenty to offer, and judging by the sales figures, people still really enjoy the series. I guess I've just grown out of it, which is fine. It can be good to leave things behind, but seeing other big Nintendo IPs like Mario, Zelda, and Smash make massive waves on Switch just left me with a bad taste in my mouth. Fortunately, Palworld has really satisfied that craving. I'm only in the early stages of the game, so I guess you can view this as a bit of my early impressions of Palworld. And I know that I haven't seen enough to really get a grasp of what the game is going to be like later down the line. For all I know, the game could get bricked, delisted, and amount $25. 25 bucks? Wait, this game is really cheap. All I know is that in the first day of playing Palworld, I played for 7 hours. And something like that hasn't happened for me in a long time. Maybe I've bought into the hype. Maybe I've already experienced the best the game has to offer. Or maybe this game was made for someone like me. Someone who has become disgruntled with Game Freak. Someone who craves a more ambitious game. Someone who wants a combination of some of their favorite games all wrapped up in one. I've had an absolute blast with Palworld so far. It's been such a breath of fresh air, and I can't wait to get back in with my pals and explore its expansive world. Thanks for watching.